Back at it again, reporting live from Spain. Today we're bringing you a brand new loop breakdown video. I'm going to be showing you exactly how we made this hard loop. We're in the Airbnb in the south of Spain. It's fucking cooking in here. We've turned the fan off because it's too loud, but we're going to get this video done just for you boys. So we're not going to waste any time. We're just going to get straight into the loop. Let's go. Alright boys, straight into it. So we started with the piano from Analog Labs. We used the preset Neglected Upright. We've played around with these knobs here, making it seem a little bit lower, bit of detune, sounding sick. So we've painted this pattern into the piano roll, following the exact same steps that we broke down in our last piano breakdown video. Go watch that if you haven't already. So quickly breaking it down, we've got our low bass notes, our middle pattern, a high counter melody, and then just added some other random notes in between. Super simple. We've got this piano at 106 BPM. You'll see later after we've rendered it, we've put it at 133, but here's what the piano sounds like just for now. Quick bit of sauce, we're using the third step timing for this piano. All you're gonna do is go up to this magnet here, go third beat, and do your whole piano pattern in there. It just gives it a different bounce, and when you put on half time and other effects, it just makes it sound a bit different to the standard half step pattern. Also, notice down here, we've changed the velocity heaps, so we've got different velocities for the bass notes, for the counter melody, so it sounds a bit more like a realistic piano, as if somebody was actually playing it. So all we've added to that piano, boys, was just a simple reverb, just giving it a bit of room space. Alright boys, so we've rendered that out. We've pitched this up 5 semitones. Quick sauce here. So what we did, we sliced the ends, grabbed this little stretch tool up here. You can find this in the waveform stretch, and we dragged it out to 8 bars. It has the same effect as halftime without taking any notes out. So after we did that, we then split it up. So we've got it on stretch, and we did 133 BPM. Here's what the piano sounds like with no effects on it still, just stretched out and spit up to 133 BPM. Now we're putting on all the secret international effects. First thing we put on was halftime, although we have automated this. So we've got halftime for the first 8 bars of the loop, and then we take it off for the second 8 bars. So we start with the vintage chorus. There's a stock plugin, sick. We turn down all the noise and turn down a bit of the mix. We added a reverb, turned down the dries, wets up a little bit. Pretty simple reverb there. We added a convolver using the bathroom preset, EQ, taking out lots of the highs, lots of the lows, keeping the mids for that vintage feel. Put a bit of vinyl using the 1970s preset, which almost acts like an EQ, just giving it even more of a vintage effect. We've got a stereo shaper, putting the piano behind the mix a little bit. We've got another EQ, just accentuating those mid-range frequencies, making it more vintage. So those were the effects we put on for the first piano. This convolver here in that first halftime, as I said. Automation clips for the second piano. Alright, so we rendered that piano out. We've got it here again. We've pitched that piano down 100 cents. We've gone and rewritten that to the exact same track. So it's got those exact same effects on again. Definitely recommend trying that. It just makes the piano sound pretty sick. So what we've done here is just gone ahead and added a halftime and a convolver, putting automations on both of them, as you can see here. So we've got the fruity convolver and the halftime automation on for the first 8 bars, and then off for the second 8 bars. This just gives the sample a more realistic effect as a whole sample instead of just an 8 bar or 16 bar loop. Alright boys, so with all those effects, here's what the piano sounds like. We're going to play you the first 8 bars and the second 8 bars so you can hear it with the halftime and without. Here's the second 8 bars with the piano. Crazy. Try some of those effects yourself at home. Lots of them with stock plugins. Just go crazy with the pianos yourself. Alright boys, next up we added a violin. The violin we used is called Euphoria. It was just a random bank we found on Reddit. Sick, super realistic. So we've worked with that for the sample. So here's the piano roll. We've just added some random notes in with the same scale. We're just gonna play this for you now. You can probably tell that's not on the same key as the piano was before. That's because we pitched it up after we rendered it out. So the immediate fix we put on that violin straight away was just a reverb, just cleaning it up a little bit, giving it a little bit of room space, and an EQ taking out some of the harsh frequencies at the top and just taking out some of the lows. Alright, so we rendered that violin out. We're going to quickly show you how to render your piano roll patterns into audio files. So you want to find in here, in this little piano section, you want to find your pattern of whatever VST you're using. So for example, for our violin, we've used Analog Lab number 5, that's what we're using. Right click, quick render as audio clip, we'll render out, and then it'll appear under this audio file section right at the bottom. Drag it in, Bob's your uncle. We pitched it up 3 semitones to fit the same pitch of the piano. So for all these effects, they're a bit more complex than the standard ones we put on straight away. We've got on the stereo shaper, putting the violin behind the mix. We've got another reverb, just giving it even more space, more ambience. We've got a micro shift, which is acting as a little bit of a chorus or a flanger. And another EQ, just taking out some of the lows. A little bit of those harsh frequencies at the top, just keeping it super clean. So after all those effects, here's what that violin sounds like. Forgot to tell you about cutting the violin up, so we're just going to show you exactly how we did that right now. So after you've rendered out your audio file, click here, right click, Fruity Slicer. We don't exactly know what this does. I think it just turns down the attack a little bit. So you go attack, turn the decay up a little bit. You only want to touch these knobs slightly, otherwise the chops are just going to sound weird. Click on here, beat, and then it should pop up here. You might need to go split channel. There we go. Drag this in. So let's go that cool Q beatsy choppy effect. Another cool tip, you can mess with these velocities here and make it even more sound like a sample. For this one, we just left it how it was. We've gone ahead, rendered it out again, drag it in, and then we put the effects on. Last layer, this is a super simple sample, 3 layers, so we made it sound sick. This is from another random Analog Lab bank we found on Reddit. It's called Dire Dreams. It's almost like a pluck bell thing. We put in this pattern here. So guys, when you're making piano melodies like this, don't overthink it. Start painting in notes that just fit with the scale. You don't need to be doing everything at once. Just do one little layer at a time, and then in about 5 minutes, you'll have your full piano melody. So on effects on this Pluck, we've got delay bank on the stock preset, and we've just turned it down a little bit. We've got halftime on the 8th preset. We've turned the sustain up a little bit just to smooth out the clicky noises. And we've also got a reverb, just giving it a bit of ambience. We've rendered that out and added some new effects onto that. So firstly, we've got an effect rack using the detune space preset. It's one of our go-tos just for giving ambience and a detune sound. We've got an EQ, taking out heaps of the lows and a little bit of the highs to keep those mid-range. And lastly, we've got this pan man, 2 bars going left to right. So here's what that sounds like. All the processing done, effects on, everything. Alright boys, so those are all the layers. Instead of adding more layers like sometimes we would or some other producers might, we spent a bit of time on the layout. So you can see here with our automations before, we've got a convolver automation, just giving it reverb, slightly dips out before the second part of the loop comes in. We've got our halftime on our piano, on at the first 8 bars, off for the second 8, back on for the third 8. When we're laying out our samples, we're super mindful of how it's going to sound with a beat. Do the same thing. It's super easy for a producer to put drums on when a sample's actually been laid out properly. Alright boys, that's it for the video. Super simple sample today, but you got lots to learn. So go take some of those effects, take some of those tips, try them in your own samples at home. Remember, join the Producer G's Discord, link in the description. We've got a huge community of producers just collabing, connecting, being G's. Also, go check out our second channel. We've got heaps of loops on there. You can use them, you can study them, whatever. And of course, we've got our vlogs and tutorials on this channel. Go check them out. Anyway, boys, here's the full loop. This loop's called Sakura. Link in the description to the pack. You can go download that after this video. Enjoy this one, boys.